Hey there, T here. Just wanted to apologize for the audio quality on A's part of the video. We had an issue where his mic cut out and we lost the bulk of what he recorded. So we have tried to do everything we can to clean up the audio, but it still sounds kind of rough. This will be fixed by our third video, but unfortunately the East and West video, the predictions were recorded together. But anyway, thanks for listening and enjoy the predictions. So welcome everybody to the initial and first episode of TNA Sports. I would be T, and he is Aaron, or A. He's A. I think that sounds better. We'll go with that. He's A. And we're going to be talking today. Obviously, if you looked at the title of the video, we're going to be talking today about some SEC predictions. We're going to be looking at rankings, standings for the SEC East and West. And we're going to be looking at how these teams are going to be doing against the over-under. Okay. So, talking about few things first before we get into the actual predictions. It's the first video for us, and the reason we're doing this and going on this little adventure is we're pretty much going to be recording what we do and what we've talked about for years and years and years. We're going to be doing and putting on YouTube basically what happens on any given Saturday or any given weekday for that matter, in my living room between us talking about football. So we're going to be doing this and just putting it on YouTube. Hopefully, some of our predictions this year will be correct. I've had pretty good luck in the past. So, that's why we're doing this. That's why we're doing the whole getting on here. So hopefully we can have some good discussions with people. And, these are predictions. These are opinions. These are things that obviously, this is what we think. So, don't get mad because we predict your team not to do well. Maybe your team just needs to get better. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, so looking at the criteria of what we used, wrinkle the paper here a little. So there's really four main categories that we used in doing these rankings. One is coaching. So not only just your head coach, but your coordinators, your position coaches, top to bottom, strength and conditioning, all that stuff is important. So we look at your coaching level. Another thing that we look at is quarterback play. Do you have an experienced guy coming back? Do you have a guy that's proven he can win games, and that he can actually complete passes when it matters? So, until you don't know. So when these guys, if you're an inexperienced quarterback, you really don't know what you're going to be getting from these guys till you really see them, be put out there under fire. So that's another thing we look at. Third, we look at your overall talent level. To us, that's one of the most important things. From top to bottom, that's what differentiates your good teams from your not good teams is the amount of depth that you have. I mean, you might have good starters, but game of football is a rough game. There's a lot of injuries. There's constantly people tweaking stuff. So, if you don't have depth, a couple of injuries derail your season. And, of course, obviously that's one thing you can't really look at. Nobody can predict injuries. So, no matter what the prediction is, it won't take much. An injury or two at a key position is going to totally throw a wrench in the predictions. So that's one thing that, we can't look at. But definitely overall talent, super important. And lastly, the last thing we look at is your schedule. I mean, your schedule can really make the difference between, maybe a 1-loss team and a 3 or 4-loss team. Of course, obviously, the better your home field advantage is, the more it's going to help you. Also, who are you playing? Who are you playing on the road? Are your tougher games on the road or are your tougher games at home? Makes a big difference. So that's, when we look at the schedule, there's a lot of different things that we take into account. A lot of this stuff we will get into later as we go week to week, because this video is going to be, our preview and predictions for the SEC. And then each week we're going to go through and we're going to be predicting games as well. So obviously, if you want to hear our predictions, make sure that you subscribe to our channel and that you like the video. Hate to ask to do that, but being a new channel, we want to hit that YouTube algorithm all we can, and get this out to as many as we can. So with that, I think that covers everything. Am I right, Aaron? Did that pretty much cover everything?
Yes, that's our criteria that we go by, just in case anybody was wondering. And so now we get to the fun part as T starts the predicting.
All right. So one thing we're going to do is, there's not a whole lot of skill to me this year involved in who is going to win the West and the East. So a little bit of spoiler here. We got Bama winning the West and we got Georgia winning the East. I mean, I know that's probably going to floor a lot of people, but that's who we're going to predict. Now we will get into more about, looking at the how they're going to turn out as far as what we think their records are going to be and whatnot. But to me, just not a whole lot of skill involved in picking them two to win. So the interesting part to me comes from 2 to 7 in each division. So first, we're going to start in the East, and we're going to start at number 7. So what we're going to do, we're going to go through, I'll give my number 7. I'll give you a little bit of a reason why. Then, then Aaron will give his. And then we'll go up the line. Okay. At number 7 in the East, I got the Vanderbilt Commodores. Unfortunately, I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about Vandy. I mean, they're Vandy. They've got Clark Lee from Notre Dame. This is his second year. I do expect Vanderbilt to be a better football team. The problem is Vanderbilt does not recruit anywhere near a level to where it really matters that much. I mean, to be honest, if you want to look back at like James Franklin, that should tell you how good of a job James Franklin did at being at Vandy and winning the amount that he did. That's hard to do. So Vanderbilt, this year I got them finishing in 7th. I got them going 2-10 this year. So the over-under for Vandy this year is at 2.5. And I have them going under. Now I could see Vandy winning 3 games and hitting the over. But looking at the schedule, that was pretty much what I saw from Vandy. So that's got number 7 for me. If you want to go ahead and take your number 7.
Is it already time for my first 12-6 curveball of the year? No, it's not time yet. I am going with the Vanderbilt Commodores at number 7 in the East. I will give them 3-9 though. I'm going to try to be positive. What's so hard with Vanderbilt is judging the coaching. Except for James Franklin, it's hard to judge a coach at Vanderbilt because the academic standards are so high and the talent level just does not match up with everybody else. So when you look at schedule and they add the Crimson Tide from the West and then the regular East, they're going to have to win their non-conference games and maybe steal a game in the SEC, but I'm going 3-9 for the Vanderbilt Commodores. This ship will take on choppy waters very often this year.
Got it? That it? I hate to laugh. I think it's the first time I've ever heard 3-9 being considered a positive. But well, I guess compared to 2-10, I guess 3-9, that's much better. That's what, 30-something% more wins? No, 50% more wins. 50% more wins. Sorry about that. My math there had a little hiccup. Okay, so we took care of 7th in the East. Not a whole lot of thought really goes into that one, to be honest with you. To me, there's less thought in who finishes last in the East than there is in who wins the West and East. So next, we're going to go to 6th in the East. And for that, I'm going with Mizzou. So I got the Tigers this year going 5-7. Missouri, I don't think the talent level is great. It's okay. They've recruited decently well. They have spots where they have decent talent. They have spots where they don't have decent talent. The coaching staff has really not proven that they can win in the SEC yet. So, we're kind of with the over-under here. The over-under is 5.5 with Mizzou, so I got them slightly being under this year. Once again, it's close, very, very, very close. I could see them, and I know I'm taking the political answer there, where I predict them to be under, but I could see them hitting over. So I'm gonna go with 5-7 for Missouri. Okay, Aaron, what you got?
I am also going to go with this version of the Tigers. I am going to be fairly positive. I'm going up to 4-8. The talent level is not with the rest of the SEC. The jury is still out on Eli Drinkowitz being the quality SEC coach. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on Missouri. The positive for Missouri, they're not Vandy, but they'll win one more game. So they head-to-head against Vandy, they better win to get up to their 4 wins this year team.
All right. So as of right now, me and A are going the same as far as the where the teams are placing. We both got Vandy at 7, both got Mizzou at 6. Not sure if we're going to stay down the line going with the same predictions here, but at number 5 in the East, I'm going with the South Carolina Gamecocks. I have them going 7-5 this year. The over-under for South Carolina is going to be 6. So I do have them being a game over. I think South Carolina last year really overperformed. I really was not expecting much out of South Carolina last year. They really shocked me. I'll give them credit. I think Shane Beamer did a great job, especially in his first year. Pulled out a couple of games that I really didn't see him pulling out. With that being said, though, the only bad part is I think they could be a better team this year, and their record not be, really any better, because they do play a difficult schedule. Not only playing the SEC, but also having to play Clemson out of conference there at the end of the year. It's not easy. But I do think South Carolina is a team on the rise. I do think they are recruiting fairly well. If they continue to recruit like they are, I can see them moving their way up the East over the next few years. I am a Shane Beamer fan, for sure. But once again, I got South Carolina 7-5, one game above the over-under of 6. Hey, what you got?
Usually, I do not go for the Gator chomp this fast, but I'm going to put them at 5th. I'm going to disagree with T just a little bit here. They do not have proven quarterback play, and that is one of my big criteria. This is quarterback. They have a rookie coach as far as the SEC. Billy Napier's not a rookie coach, but this is his first go around in the SEC. They're in a state, they will get better. Every year, they're already in Florida. They don't have to go far to get great players. So this will be probably the only time I got the Gator chomp down at 5. But for this year, with all the factors, when you look at schedule, Florida State out of conference, LSU from the other side, unproven quarterback, I'm going to have to put the Gator chomp at 5. So tell you what you got at 4.
All right, so a little bit of disagreement there. Not too much though, because my number 4 team is the same Florida Gators. I'm giving them a little more credit this year. I'm going 8-4 for Florida. The over-under for Florida this year is a 7. And these over-unders are coming from Vegas Insider. And they're current as of 8/20. This is the current over-unders. So, getting to Florida, back to Florida, I kind of agree with A on this. I do think Florida is another team on the rise. I think Billy Napier, he's already showing that he's going to have the ability to recruit down there. And under Dan Mullen, I really feel like that's one place that Florida really missed out. Not that they did terrible in recruiting, but to me, if you're in Florida, if you're at Florida University of Florida, you should be, there's no reason you shouldn't have a top 5 recruiting class just about every year. I mean, there's really no sense in it. Because, I mean, you're in Florida. You've got talent all around your area. You got people who doesn't want to come live in Florida. Great weather, beautiful women, all that good stuff that gets players. But I do think that Billy Napier is now starting to take advantage of that a little bit, and he's starting to really turn up the heat on the recruiting side of things. And as long as he continues to do that, Florida's going to continue to get better. Talent has never been too much of an issue with them, but the depth of talent has been the issue with them. They're another team where their starters have been, tremendous. They just don't have the depth that you really need for the SEC. Now, Florida, they're going to be starting Anthony Richardson at quarterback this year. A lot of people think he's going to explode. I think he's going to be good. I think he's going to be much better than Emory Jones was. But Florida does have they've got a lot of changes, new coaching staff, a lot of player turnover, transfer portal. So I think it's going to take Florida a little while to gel. But I do have them. I'm a little more on the Florida bandwagon this year. Really didn't think they would do well last year, and they didn't. So anyway, so they're my number 4 with an 8-4 record. So what you got it for, eh?
I am going to be where you always have to hear that fighting chicken noise whenever you play up there. But I get them at number 4 because I really respect their head coach. That's Shane Beamer. His first year to go 6-6 with absolutely no quarterback whatsoever.
Yep.
So when you add Spencer Rattler, that's at least a war of 1 in my opinion, a +1. So that and that's where I'm going. South Carolina at 7-5. Yes, it is a tie with Florida, so you can tell I'm gonna pick them head to head. But I just believe that Shane Beamer is on his way here in the SEC. When he was first hired, I didn't really know a lot about him. I knew, his dad was a very good coach at Virginia Tech. But to me, he's already proven that he's gritty, and his teams are going to play gritty. So I am going with the Fighting Chickens at 7-5 and to finish 4th in the SEC East.
So all right, so that takes care of 7, 6, 5, and 4. So not a lot of differences here so far. Very close in record, very close in who we're predicting to finish where. So we'll see if there's any changes here toward the top. Also, these are not things we didn't discuss these beforehand. We came up separately with what we decided with these teams. Just happened to be a lot of these are very, very similar, and you will see as we go along. So now at 3rd in the East, I'm going with the Mustard Chunkers, Tennessee. I'm really think of them though. They could really be a surprise team this year. I have them being 8-4. Okay, so I've got them at 8-4. The over under for them this year 7.5. So I've got them just barely in the over on that. But Tennessee, they return an experienced quarterback. I think Hendon Hooker. He's one of the better quarterbacks in the SEC. I think once he got in with the Josh Heupel offense, it's really clicked with him. He struggled at Virginia Tech a lot, and I thought when he came over to Tennessee that he may not even win the starting job. But not only did he win the starting job, but I mean, just a phenomenal year last year. And that's one of our 4 criteria for, teams that we look at to be good is, do you have the returning quarterback production? Do we think your quarterback can win games in the clutch? And with Tennessee, I think they can. I know, quarterback's not everything, but I don't think the East is going to be murderer's row this year. And Tennessee's got some difficult, games out of conference. They play BYU. So that, they're going to have some difficult games. But I still like the Josh Heupel offense with Hendon Hooker. If the Tennessee defense can really turn the corner this year, I honestly think they could give Georgia, that's going to be a heck of a game between them and Georgia if Tennessee can get their defense really playing at a high level. Because I think the offense is going to be there. They're going to put up some points. So definitely I got Tennessee 3rd with possibility maybe much better than that, depending upon, I got to see that defense perform though. So until I see that, Tennessee's staying at 3rd for me. So what you got, A?
At 3rd, I am going with a program that everybody thinks their basketball team for some reason is better, but I'm going with the Kentucky Wildcats as the number 3 team in the East with an 8-4 record. they have a proven quarterback, Will Levis. Now, I do not have him as highly rated as some people. I don't think he'll be top pick in the draft or anything like that. But he is a very good quarterback. Kentucky is fundamentally sound. I really like their head coach, Mark Stoops. He proved me wrong. When he first came to SEC, I was like, they're just hiring him because he's a Stoops. But I want to tell you what, he's really impressed me. They are blue collar on defense. They always have a good running game, and now they have a good quarterback. Now they need a few more playmakers out wide, and that's the reason I think you have to cap them out at third in the East. But they are a very good and capable team of beating anybody. But I've got to see some more playmakers before I could actually predict that. So I'm going with the Kentucky Wildcats, 8-4, third in the East.
Basketball school, what are you talking about? I got Kentucky second in the East. Kentucky, the football school, Wildcats. So I got Kentucky, like I said, being second. I got them going 9-3 this year. A lot of the same thing that Aaron said. I like Stoops as a coach. He has proven he's going to be in the bowl game picture every year. And he's going to have his teams are going to be tough. They're going to be hard-nosed. They're going to be able to run the football, and they're going to play pretty good defense. So when you do those things, you can beat just about anybody until you run into a team that just has a ton more talent than you. And unfortunately, Kentucky's recruiting is better, but it's still not at the level it needs to be to pull off the Georgias, the Alabamas, and the SEC. To me, the talent level's still not there to beat those teams yet. Not that they can't, but as far as consistency goes. But I really like Will Levis. I'm like Aaron. I don't think he's going to be, a first round, top half of the first round pick. But he has impressed me, and he's performed much better than I thought he would when he first transferred over from Penn State. I thought a backup from Penn State, I just don't see him being great in the SEC. But he has played really well. They do need wide receiver help for sure. So I don't know what their passing's going to be this year. I do know they're going to be able to run the ball though. And when you run the ball, that opens up everything else. So to me, their schedule is not murderer's row. You have the experienced quarterback coming back, and like I said, you have a pretty good defense. So I'm a little bit higher on Kentucky. Their over-under is 8, so I have them at 9. So I have them a game over. So, and that probably surprises a few people. Now, I'm not sure if everybody's going to have Kentucky pick second. So anyway. So, Aaron, what you got at number 2? I think I know.
Well, so far, the only team besides Georgia I've not talked about is old Rocky Top. And it's not that I am in love with Rocky Top, but that offense, with Hendon Hooker, one of the better quarterbacks in the SEC, not the top, but one of the better, and Cedric Tillman at wide receiver. That kid right there can make plays. And the running game got better last year as the season went along. And I thought Heupel did good for his first season. The offense is fine. But they have got to improve the defense. Now, they don't got to be generational like Georgia, but they have got to be respectable. That way they have a shot at being better than my 8-4 and second place finish in the SEC East.
All right, so that takes care of everybody but number one, and we've already spoilt it, so, it's Georgia. I like this Georgia team. I do not like this Georgia team as much as I like last year's Georgia team. But I still have Georgia is still the class of the East, and I've got them going 11-1. Georgia does not have what I would call a difficult schedule this year. Most of their tougher games are at home. They got a great draw out of the West. So Georgia, with how good their defense is going to be, and I know they lost a lot of guys. Georgia did lose a lot from their generational defense. And their defense is still going to be good. I mean, Kirby's a defensive guy. I mean, the defense is good every year. So Georgia's going to be fine on defense. I am not, and I know a lot of people are probably going to say, how can you say this? But I'm still not sold on Stetson Bennett. And to me, I feel like, and I'm not trying to disrespect Stetson Bennett, don't get me wrong, but I feel like, he benefited a lot last year from having the generational defense. You saw in the SEC title game, when they went up against a high-powered offense, they really, really struggled against Alabama in the SEC title game. Okay. To me, this year, though, I think Georgia's going to look a little bit more like they looked 2 years ago. How they still had a good defense, but they, that was it. They were good. They weren't generational. And then, of course, you had Stetson Bennett at quarterback. I don't think their offensive talent is going to be very good this year. Georgia's going to be able to run the ball. They lost their top two backs, but Georgia's going to be able to run the ball. I do think one of the places that they're going to be hurting is that receiver. I mean, Jermaine Burton, he transferred to Alabama. He was their leading wide receiver last year. Technically, their leading receiver was Brock Bowers at tight end. But, Burton was their leading actual wide receiver. He transferred out. And I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, that Mitchell was injured the other day. Adonai Mitchell. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, but he's one of their top receivers, and he got hurt the other day. They lost George Pickens. They're overloaded with tight end talent. They've got tight ends. They could run three wide on tight ends. I don't think you could say that about any other team in the country. But I just don't think the Georgia offense is going to they're not going to take advantage of short fields like they did last year, because I don't think the defense is just going to put them in that position. Don't get me wrong, the defense is not going to be allowing 30 points a game or nothing like that. I'm just saying you can't lose that amount of talent and not have a drop off. So between all of that, they're going to have such a drop off that they're going to go finish 11-1 and go play for the SEC title. So that's my thoughts on Georgia. What you got, A?
Well, obviously, the only team I have not talked about in the SEC East is the Georgia Bulldogs, which we'd already determined they were going to win this division anyway. Kirby Smart is a very good coach. I mean, he proved that. He finally broke through. I'm not going to go and, make excuses for other teams. I mean, he won it. But the quarterback play, I got to agree with T here. He's middle of the pack SEC at best. And when you lose your top two halfbacks and you lose all them receivers, the offense is not going to be as good. Obviously, they have one of the best tight ends in the nation, and they have a tight end room with 3. Hardly no team has that. But it's just not going to be enough because the generational defense will not be as good. There'll be a lot of inexperience sprinkled all throughout that defense. You never can tell. Somebody might get them early. And obviously, with me picking them at 10-2 to finish number 1 in the East, they, I believe Oregon has a shot out of conference, and then somebody will sneak up in the SEC on them. A few years ago, it was South Carolina, when South Carolina wasn't even that good. So there is my reason behind the Georgia Bulldogs being 10-2 and number 1 in the SEC.
And one thing I did, not sure if I mentioned it or not, the over-under for Georgia is 10.5. So I have them going over, and Aaron has them going under. So that's that. All right, so that pretty much does it. I want to thank everybody for tuning in to check out our prediction video here. Also, be on the lookout. Our SEC West video, prediction video is pretty much out at the same time. So if you watch the video, and if you did have any disagreements, I'm sure there's going to be some. Feel free, get down in the comments and let's talk about it. Let's discuss it. If you feel like we're idiots or geniuses or something in between. But for sure, appreciate you catching the video, and we'll see you next time on TNA Sports.